Um, okay, well, thank you to those of you who have taken the trouble to join Peter and I early on. I was just told to put my cup down. I'm having a cup of tea, actually. I think I'll do it again.
It is 7 o'clock, Ed.
7 o'clock. So thank you very much for joining us. I mean, obviously, some of you, I think, may well have been at EA Masters on Friday, which was fascinating. Funny enough, I was talking to one or two people there who thought that the EA Masters and the Property Academy do more for the estate agency industry than the NAEA, which I thought was a bit of a bold statement for them. But the objective of this particular webinar is to talk about the obvious thing if you're an estate agent is about winning more listings. And obviously, having seen an awful lot of very useful things talked about at EA Masters on Friday, the fact is, Peter and I, between us, have probably got, crikey, I hate to think, probably 70 odd years worth of experience of of winning listings. I mean, Peter, what do you think about what you heard on Friday at EA Masters?
Well, I thought it was great. I really enjoyed that one. I thought the speakers were fantastic. I learned a lot, which is someone who'd been in the business for such a long time, an old dog and new tricks and all that. But I did. I thought it was great. I think what came through loud and clear to me was that we, as an industry, are going to have to change. I spoke to so many agents that have just rushed to the bottom. As I said, the fee war is a race no one wants to win, but everyone's in it. And the only way to get out of it is to provide memorable experiences and give an exceptional service, not just a great service, an exceptional service. And so I think anything that we as estate agents, and I'm still calling myself an estate agent, I always have done, and I will carry on doing it. We as estate agents have to step up. Most won't. You know, I've said it my whole life. 90% of the competition are completely useless, and I would hope that the people watching this actually do want to learn something. So they won't be. But it is a great industry when 90% of the competition are not very good, and the ones that are can really step up. And the ones that are should not be reducing their fees. And that's what really struck me. So providing an exceptional service, and that might mean all sorts of things. As far as we're concerned, you and me, Ed, it is the ability with your business that I play some part in to provide viewings 24/7. Seems crazy to me that we say to people still, I'm sorry, we're closed on a Sunday, you can't see it. You know, that is absolutely
well, I mean, I'm going to interrupt and sort of say it up front, because I think the one thing I'm still amazed about, despite the fact that we've got over 350 customers, agents, some of them quite large, using us, not one of them as yet, and I find this quite extraordinary, especially given what we heard on Friday, has put a thing on their website saying that anybody can view any of their properties at any time. I mean, that is such a unique customer service commitment. But it's one that'll win you listings, because, I mean, you know, I was when I was up against you, for instance, Peter, when you were running Foxtons in South Kent and I was running Douglas and Gordon in Chelsea, the way I used to differentiate myself from the opposition in those days was that you guys at Foxtons were all wearing your suits, and I would arrive at instructions or potential instructions on my motorbike wearing a red fleece. And it was my way of I'm not sure I did it deliberately, but it just sort of differentiated me. Well, it differentiated me from everybody else. And what everybody is looking for when they go into a listing is to say, well, we're better than anybody else. And of course, one of the problems that you have when you go in as an estate agent is that the implication when you sit in front of your potential client is that the assumption that the person you're going in to see makes is that anybody who asks to see any of your properties anytime, they'll be able to go in and see it. That's the assumption that a lot of people make. What they don't understand is that estate agents actually, and I get this, if you're an estate agent and you want a sole agency, people will come and see it when you want them to see it. That's the sort of old-fashioned approach. Is that, look, we've got the instruction, people will come and see it when we want you to. But that's beginning to not happen so much. And as I said, what we're trying to do is differentiate. What we want to do is help agents differentiate themselves. And I'm absolutely convinced that to sit in front of someone and say, look, we have a system in place that enables us to show your property to anybody whenever they ask to see it. So Sundays, Saturdays, evenings, busy times, when everyone's away, doesn't matter. And I don't understand why people don't put that on the front of their websites. Now, your old crew, Foxtons, is just beginning to start doing a bit of advertising for the first time.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
I think we were on our way to EA Masters and saw it in one of the windows. But
yeah,
well,
it does what it says on the tin, doesn't it? You know, they are punchy, aggressive estate agents, and their advertising is punchy and aggressive. And I think always they've stayed true to what they are. They're not trying to be something that they aren't, and they've stayed true. And I think, you know, we as estate agents should do that. You need to own a not a section of the market, but an ability to be somewhat different from other people. If you're just all vanilla estate agents, you'll never get anywhere. Well, you'll just be like all the rest, and people will see you like all the rest, and they'll expect you to be the same as all the rest. I think that something's got to give for really good estate agents to step up, and it definitely isn't fees, or as really good estate agents will go bust.
Yeah, but you know what we're trying to do here is give anybody listening or watching the opportunity to keep those fees up, and I'm absolutely convinced that, you know, I'm sure that some of you watching will already employ weekend staff. When I was at Douglas and Gordon, we used to have one member of staff, or we used to have one weekend viewer. Actually, no, they weren't even called weekend viewers. They were called Saturday viewers. Forget Sunday. They were called Saturday viewers. And the diary for our Saturday viewer would be booked up by about Tuesday evening, Wednesday lunchtime. Anybody else called was just told, sorry, mate, you know, we can't do it. So I know that we used to miss out on all sorts of potential sales and lets because we simply couldn't do them on Saturdays, let alone Sundays. So what we're trying to do here is to effectively give you an unlimited number, you, the estate agents, an unlimited number of freelance weekend staff. And that's all Vuber is. I mean, as time goes on, and actually I can't believe it's been going for 2 years, you know, we've done over now 40,000 viewings. So I don't think anybody can sit there and say, does it work? Because the answer is, it does work. You know, our viewers turn up to do the viewings when they're asked to do so. The feedback system works, the booking system works. It's really easy for you guys as agents to book it. I mean, Peter, I think it's fair to say when you first heard about it, you weren't particularly taken with it. So what sort of changed the way you thought that agents could benefit from it?
Well, very interestingly, again, going back to the Property Academy thing on Friday, which I spoke to a lot of people, and it was great. And many of them came and said, "Look, you know, what's all this about? You know, obviously we're nervous about people doing our viewings for us. That's our job." And my response, and that was my initial reaction when we met 2 years ago, whatever it was, and I said, "No way, I'm not going to give that to anybody. That's my job." It is not for every viewing. Let's be clear. It is not for doing viewings at 4 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon. You guys should be doing that. Of course you should. But it is for doing viewings at 4 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon when you've got better things to do. And it is literally opening the door to let the parents in or let a builder in to measure up for curtains. It is those bits that need not take one of your people out of the office for potentially hours, where frankly, if you do have limited amounts of staff, it is much better that your staff are there making outgoing phone calls, selling appointments to get people in. So I would guess 80% of your viewings will be done by your people. 20% you can definitely farm out to either Vuber or other people, we hope Vuber, but farm out when your people are much better off being in the office doing really constructive things.
Because that's actually what Peter Knight was saying, wasn't it, from the stage on Friday? He reckoned that 80% of viewings he said there were probably 20% of the viewings you get could probably be dealt with by somebody else to enable your staff to be more effective. Funnily enough, one of the things that some people have asked me about or have had concerns about have been the fact that, exactly as you said, on a Thursday afternoon they should be doing the viewings themselves, and they were really worried that negotiators would use Vuber on a rainy afternoon, but they didn't want to go do it themselves, so they think, oh well, let's just give it to Vuber. Actually, there are one or two companies out there and they're on our testimonial site, so do go and have a look at the website and check it out. But there are one or two companies that what they do is they give their staff two Vuber viewings to use at weekends. Now, this has ended up having two results. One company, My London Home, who's actually a sort of, they're like a giant hybrid rig, I suppose. I think that they have one office that covers London, but they have lots of people sort of working from home all over London. But they're still, I've always thought they've been a very good agency. They get an enormous return on investment by giving all their negotiators the opportunity to use two Vuber viewings every week. So what's happened is they're ending up doing a lot more viewings on Saturdays and Sundays and making money. Stephen Hurd, their CEO, reckons they get a 10-to-1 ROI, 9 or 10-to-1, which is amazing of itself because that's money they wouldn't have got otherwise. But do you know what? The really odd thing is that their staff are incredibly happy. And we've started to get people coming to Vuber to say, how do we help? Can we use you to help us retain our retain our staff? Because increasingly, I mean, even Foxtons now don't work on Sundays.
Well, as I say, when we first started in 1985, all those years ago, we were 7 days a week, 9 till 9, and we did that for 2 years. So you either work Saturday or Sunday. Now, the reason we stopped is because the quality of staff, and I can hear people laughing out there, but the quality of staff in those days was, well, it was the sort of Wild West, really. But anyway, the quality of staff, we just could not get staff to work either Saturday or Sunday, bearing in mind we were all working till 9 o'clock every night. So we stopped it. And because of the quality of staff, and because we didn't have to work every Sunday or Sundays, then the quality of staff went up, and we found some, I would guess, more normal people that had lives. You need employees that have lives, because unless they do, they're not going to hang around for very long. And you're right, Vuber can absolutely do this for us. You can retain your people that actually do want to spend every other weekend working, but every other weekend off, but still showing things and getting paid for it. You know, they can literally be on call if they're doing viewings on a Sunday. The Vuber puts in the feedback from the viewing, and if it's absolutely fantastic feedback, this person loves this place, at 3 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, sure, they're at home, but they can call and say, great news, I gather you loved it, which is fantastic service.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that this retaining staff thing is not something we expected. I mean, obviously, we're here principally to talk about how we can help people win instructions. And one of the other things, I mean, I'm only talking about what happened on Friday because it's so fresh in my mind, really. And I don't often go to those sort of things. So hearing two Australians talking about the way the system works in Australia, and it is increasingly working like this in America, is with these open houses. So what people in certainly Australia tend to do is that they have, and I never knew this, they tend to have a couple of days of the week, I think, when they do open houses. Is that how they do it?
Opens, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, opens.
They don't take people out viewing. You'll come to the open house or you won't see it. And they'll have a crowd of people there, and they'll have a person on the door taking names and addresses, names and email addresses, and asking that question, as you heard, are you here to buy, or are you here just out of interest? And there's nothing wrong with either or both. Just out of interest, are you local? I mean, it's great.
But I think in order to win instructions, I do think that open houses, whatever, do create. And often for some estate agents, I think they really worry about open houses, and the idea that you're going to have lots of people wondering about your client's house, particularly if it's a high value house, can be very nerve-wracking. But half the point about using Vuber is it does enable you to go into an instruction and to say, well, we're going to do open houses. We can have two open houses in the first month. And the point is you can make that commitment to as many of your customers as you like, because if you want to do them on a Saturday or a Sunday, you can have 1 or 2 or 3 of our Vubers. And by the way, you can have a Vuber pool, so you can have the same Vubers that you just use all the time, ones you've either met or, all of our Vubers have now gone through enhanced vettings. We're about to open an academy to train them further, and we're very happy for you, the agents, to tell us what you want from our Vubers. But you can have your own pool of Vubers, and you can do as many open houses as you like. And open houses, to give you an example, £40 buys you a 1-hour open house on a Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock. It doesn't vary, and it'll cost the same if you're a lettings agent on a Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock, or It doesn't matter. To me, that's the best bit of what the Australian guys, and needless to say, being Peter Knight, he had the sort of #1 guy who's written 10 million quid's worth of Aussie, or 10 million Aussie dollars worth of fees in the last year. So he clearly knows what he's talking about. But so open houses, I know customers really like, but buyers actually sort of don't like them. They like being able to get in at a time that suits them, but they don't necessarily like the competition that involves having other people coming in at the same time.
Yeah, nothing wrong with it, though, is there?
No.
It depends on the size of house, but if it's a sort of 350, 2-3 bed house, then there's nothing wrong with a bit of competition. It gets let's not forget who the guys are acting for.
Why do you think they haven't caught on so much here in the UK? Because as a differentiator, if you're going along to try and win an instruction, you're on evaluation, you want to win an instruction, why wouldn't you offer open houses? Why do you think there's such a resistance to it?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think I've only ever worked in London, so I don't know. But in London, everything's so close. But if you're schlepping out for 15, 20 minutes the other side of a town, 3, 4, 5 times a week, you surely would be better to have an open house on a Tuesday afternoon or a Thursday evening or a whenever, or a Sunday. So many people now. I mean, I saw some comments on some of the property industry things, which is we only take people around when it suits us. Well, as you alluded to earlier, Ed, I think that's old-fashioned thinking. I would certainly think like that in the past. I think times have changed, and I think we as estate agents need to move with those times. I don't think we should and could be all things to all people, but to offer something different and special, and I think 24/7 viewings is different and special, just sets you out from the crowd.
Yes, I sort of struggle to understand why open houses aren't more commonplace. As I said, this is, what we're trying to help people with is to give them a differentiator, something which enables them to go along and to say to a client, well, actually, we do this when the opposition doesn't. And I know you don't want to hear this, but actually, one of our chief executive team at Viva was selling her property recently, and well, she wasn't selling hers actually; she was selling her father-in-law's property. And I'm afraid to say that she is young, and she had 2 local agents in to see her father-in-law, her deceased father-in-law's house, and she had one of the new breed of onliners in to do it. And what swung it for her, I'm afraid, was the fact that they said we would have an open house on the first Saturday after you instruct us, and 50% of our properties sell at that first open house. And that's exactly what happened. Well, I say sell. They got an offer which was agreeable on that first open house. And that's exactly what happened. So, and the other agents didn't. They came along and they said the same thing, well, we put it on Rightmove, we put it on Zoopla, on the market. I mean, really, these days, people just assume all that sort of stuff's done. Everybody does it. So I think that, and frankly, I just hate the idea of going along and talking about Rightmove anyway in that capacity. You just sort of feel you're putting money in your pockets to give them our data. That's what I've always thought about it. But anyway, it is an integral part of the business these days. So the ability to, I'm not quite sure what it is that some of our listeners this evening, some of our watchers would feel would stop them from trying it. Is it the ease of use? Because as it says here, you can just book it online. So you go along to the Viva website and you just register and you just try it. Book it. It's really simple, I promise. Is it the fact that you have to pay up front? Is there an acknowledgement that perhaps if you're a small independent agent, having to pay, say, £30 or whatever, I mean, we can give discounts and we can talk about prices, but perhaps to pay £30 for a viewing up front, is that too much? Would people think that's a little bit too much? Could you pass that cost on to your customer? I mean, if you're a high street agent, I'm fairly sure the answer to that is no. But do you ever get, or have you ever, has anybody who's listening or watching this evening ever got to a stage where they've turned down an instruction because they feel they can't service it? Now, when I was running Douglas and Gordon in Chelsea, we didn't really have anybody north of Chelsea. Douglas and Gordon was very much a south of the river agency. And I made a reasonable name for myself. We had a good business going, and I used to get people ringing up saying, can you take on something up in W2, or bits of London that were just out of our range. And I used to regularly say, look, I'm really sorry, I'm afraid we can't service that. We can't get it would take too long to get somebody there to take it on. So would that help you? If you could take on things outside of your area, and we can do all the viewings and agree a package price for you for those viewings, would that make a difference to you? I'd be fascinated. I'd love you to email either me or Peter and let us know what you think, if there is anything in particular. You can get hold of me on emead@viewer.co.uk, and Peter is peter.rollings@viewer.co.uk. We'd love to hear what it is you feel that is perhaps stopping you, because we're not expecting you to go into instructions and say, oh, we've got this company called Viewer and we can do viewings anytime. You don't have to say that. That's not the way we operate. We're just an extension of what you do.
Yeah.
I mean, you never used, I'm sorry to keep coming back to Foxtons, but your Marsh and Parsons days were obviously hugely successful as well. Did you use weekend viewers at Marsh and Parsons?
No.
What did you expect your people to do?
We had people within the office literally answering the phones, but not in all offices. I didn't know, but you're right. By Thursday, we were turning away business, even probably by Wednesday. Because frankly, you fill your diaries on a Saturday by Tuesday, Wednesday evening. You just do.
Well, I think that's another good point actually about winning this listings thing, because obviously the most successful amongst you who are watching will be, and I don't know what the average is. I mean, God, crikey, there was a stage I remember. Admittedly, this was late 90s, early noughties, when we had 150 instructions in one office. And you couldn't even begin to deal with those. If everybody who wanted to see those wanted to see them at weekends, you'd be absolutely stuffed.
Yeah.
But the ability to be able to go in and say that your competitors are struggling to show, they only have 1 or 2 weekend staff, so they're really struggling. More and more people these days want to see things at weekends. Particularly on Sundays. There's a lot of people these days do work. If you're a couple, the chances are that both of you or one of you will be working 6 days a week. Yeah. It's very rare these days for someone to completely have the weekends off. It's just not the modern way.
No.
To go into your instruction and say, well, actually, why don't you try asking our customers whether they can guarantee that you can, with our competitors, pardon me, why don't you ask our competitors when they come in for the market appraisal, why don't you ask them whether they can guarantee to do the viewings at weekends when they get the request? Because they won't. It's just, we know, I'm afraid, in the agency world that you can't get that done.
I think also, Ed, as agents, we should be honest with our clients. We should say to them, look, obviously, the type of people I employ don't work till 9 o'clock every night and all day on Saturday and all day Sunday. There are times when, frankly, they have to rest, and it's sensible and it's healthy. So we do have this ability via outsourcing to local people to show your property anytime.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I do know something. I've gone right off the word outsourcing. I know it's a cold, hard word that describes what we do, but actually, I think I'd just like to say to people that we use a viewing service when our people are really busy, and you can see you've come to us because we're successful. We sell the majority of properties in your price range. There are times at weekends when we're too busy to show all the properties, so we do use a viewing service to fill in the gaps. But it means that we can guarantee to do it. So it can be said in a really positive way. It doesn't have to be said in a way that, and as I say, I mean, it's no coincidence that if you employ Savills or Knight Frank or Stratton Parker, one of these, supposedly upmarket agencies, if you employ them and you go and see one of their properties at the weekends, you will get a weekend person. And you won't get an employee from the agency. So, it is very commonplace. And, the quality of the people that you will get from those companies, I'm sure, will be very much the same as the sort of quality of the people we get from Viewer. I mean, more than a third, almost 40% of our people are ex-property. They're people who are, just want to going about their daily lives, who want to carry on with their connections with the property world.
I like your expression of, I'd never heard it before, Ed, of the viewing pool. Where you can have a viewer pool, rather, where you can have a selection of local people that you meet. Because I do think the branding thing for me is really important. And you do absolutely want people who are on the money, on the button, to be showing your properties. I know we do the one-way video interview. So, we do see that people aren't sort of, I don't know, haven't got a Mohican haircut or whatever, and are sort of fairly,
No, that's really
fairly
important.
presentable.
That is really important, and
Yeah,
it's
to me,
important
it's
that
vital.
people understand that we don't. It's not just about the video interviews. We do disbarring service checks. We do we do our level best to make sure that these are intelligent people full of common sense. That's what you want, is just someone with common sense. And it's also worth knowing, by the way, for the agents watching, that when you make a booking on the online form, you can put in your own questions that you want. So it's very important that you understand that you can get specific questions answered. So you can have the viewer asking the questions. If you also go to the website and you register, you will be able to get access to our service level agreement that our viewers have. So you'll be able to see that what we have devised as questions, just basic questions, whether it's a letting or a sales or an auction or whatever sort of viewing it is, there are always going to be some basic questions. I mean, one of the other things to talk about, I know that it's we're here to try and talk about how we can help you win instructions, and I know there are some people who are coming and going. I've seen the numbers of people who are watching sort of going up and going down, but one of the other issues that might sometimes stop people, or they might not understand, or how they can make it easy, is about how we handle keys. In the old days, keys were very much a sort of weapon used by companies like Foxtons to stop people getting in. So you'd go along to Foxtons to borrow the keys, and you'd say, "Can I have the keys, please, for 23 something Avenue?" And they go, "I'm terribly sorry, I'm afraid they're out at the moment." So they've been sort of weaponized to some extent. These days, keys are, as you well know, as agents, they're a pain in the backside. Managing them, getting to the right people. If you're a lettings agent, making sure the contractors got them. It's just a nightmare dealing with keys, and it's one of the things that we've had to really deal with very, very carefully. And some people have a real issue with the key safes, and if you're going along to try and win an instruction, and you can turn around to the customer and say, "Well, look, so that we can guarantee to be able to show your property 24/7, if it's okay with you, we're going to fit a key safe round the back by the garage, which will enable anybody to get in whenever they need to get in." That sells the thing instantly, and most people don't have a problem, and they can keep the key safe if it doesn't sell. It's a fire and forget one-off cost. 50 quid plus VAT for a key safe fitted anywhere in the UK within 48 hours is a pretty good commitment. But we can also provide a local key holder, or we use a key nest. So we've really invested in the procedure for managing keys. So nothing that you're committing to on the instruction to make this a 24/7 viewing proposition, or to cover viewings for the client. We've taken all that hassle away from you. We've taken it all away from you. So you deny that you ever used to lose keys, Peter?
Of course I deny it, totally. Ed, I would be saying to you that people are disappearing because you're not a footy fan, but in 15 minutes, England kick off against Spain. So
yeah, well, that's perfect.
I'd be sort of wrapping this up if I were you.
In which case, that's perfect, and will allow people to get on, I think, is a straightforward answer. But look, if you have anything to add to what we've been saying, please do let us know. As I said, you can either email hello@viewer.co.uk, go to the website, register, and someone will call you, and you can talk to them personally, or email me, emead, EMEAD, @viewer.co.uk, or peter.rollings@viewer.co.uk. Very happy to answer your questions. And to be fair, that's half an hour, and I think that's more than enough on this subject. So I think we'll close things out there, and let us know what you think, or if you have any further questions. And in which case, in the meantime, enjoy the football, Peter.
I will.
Okay, thanks very much.
Bye.